Hey everybody, welcome to another lesson with Mr. Peo. Here we go with the third commandment, keep holy the Sabbath day. Okay. First, the dad joke. I've just written a song about a tortilla. Well, it's more of a rap, really. Hope you got that one. You can rewind the tape if you did not. Think about it. Third commandment, remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor, do all your work. 6 days, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any work. That is the third commandment. Number one. So, as you got a gist from that commandment, God wrote this into creation. God creates all things good. They are reflections and vestiges, signs of his goodness. Adam and Eve, mankind, are described as very good after God made them on the sixth day. Creation's good. Adam and Eve is very good. But the seventh day is hallowed, aka holy. The seventh day is holy. This is because it is a day and a time in which we step into eternity. It's a gift to God and to man. So this day is beyond good. The world was created good. You and I are good. We weren't created to stay good. We were created to be holy. I say that with a little emphasis because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm a good person. I'll go to heaven. Yeah, you're a good person because God made you good. God makes you good. But he says on the seventh day, you have to come back to me. You have to love me. And you have to show yourself and me that you're ready to go to heaven. That's how you live on the seventh day. So you were made to be holy. Everybody's good. But are you holy? That's what you were made for. Anyway, so this is how we keep holy the Sabbath day. Labor for 6 days, just like the Lord did in creating the heaven and earth, and then we bring it all back to God on the seventh day, and we rest in His glory. All right. And so, on this note of rest, this is a cool picture. I think of Jesus. This is like my kind of Jesus, just sitting near some beautiful nature, just resting. You know. And I read from the Catechism, just as God rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had done, human life has a rhythm of work and rest. We do this on a daily basis. You got to work, you go to bed. Or if you're, young kid, you take a nap. Or if you're an old man like me, you take a nap. I can't remember the last time I napped. All I know is that I have dreams of napping during the day. The institution of the Lord's Day helps everyone enjoy adequate rest and leisure to cultivate their family, cultural, social, and religious lives. Oops. Okay, so the whole point of this slide is to say that the whole point of this day and this rest is to focus on what really matters, to dive into your family life, to dive into a culture, a society, and to, of course, practice your religion. There's many facets of the seventh day of rest and what it should look like for Christians, Catholics, and Jewish people. And you should, enjoy the ballpark. You should enjoy a festival. Of course, not when we're socially distanced and quarantined. But this is how we are supposed to live life. And God commands that we do this every week. So that's where it comes from. Stage one is the origin of the seventh day, and that comes from creation. It takes on a deeper meaning for us and the Jewish people when they were set free from Egypt. The understanding and practice of the seventh day of rest evolved, grew, and developed over time. Israel, the chosen people of God, their history would combine the rest of the seventh day with the deliverance from Egypt and the Passover meal. You remember when we did the Passover way back talking about the Eucharist? We ate that nasty food to get delivered from slavery and bondage. Well, that happened on the Sabbath. And so now, the Jewish people and Christians, we understand that God didn't just create us good and create us for us, but He delivers us from slavery. It gets a little bit more intense. The slavery of sin, the slavery of just working. That's all they did when they were in Egypt. As God says, don't know the Bible book passage, but God says, "You shall remember that you were a servant in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out thence with mighty hand and outstretched arm. Therefore, the Lord your God commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Keep it holy. Keep it real. And don't ever forget that I pulled you away from your work so that you could be free, free to worship me." That was the whole message. That's the whole plot of the Exodus. They may leave to worship God. And so we recognize we have to escape from work to worship God and to live a more full life. And then the third and final stage of the evolution of this day of rest, starting creation, was enhanced in the Passover. But what we're celebrating in this season of the church is Easter. And we're not just delivered from work, we're delivered from sin. In Christ's Passover, aka when he passes from death and resurrects to new life, Easter Sunday, this Sunday fulfills the spiritual truth of the Jewish Sabbath and announces man's eternal rest in God. For worship under the law prepared for the mystery of Christ and what was done, they're prefigured aspects of Christ, that Christ would deliver us. Like I said, he delivers us from sin so that we can live to be free children of God. And so, as the early church said, that's when you hear me talk about the seventh day of rest. It got moved to the first day of the week for Christians. Why? Because even though, yes, God rested on the seventh day, Jesus Christ was in the tomb that day. He arises and reestablishes creation with his resurrection. So he moves it a day ahead, which happens to be the first day of the week. So we Christians celebrate, most Christians, some don't know this teaching, so they still celebrate Saturday. But most Christians say it begins on the first day of the week, when God, separating matter from darkness, made the world. And on the same day, Jesus Christ, our Savior, rose from the dead. And even in the Acts of the Apostles book, chapter 20, verse 7, it says, on the first day of the week, they gathered to break bread. All right? Those are your three stages, or three things you have to know to understand the third commandment. That is what it means. That is the theology behind it, ever so briefly. Couple practicals. You know that as a Catholic, you're expected to go to Mass. Okay? Well, those were the days, right, when we could go to Mass. Hopefully you miss it. Hopefully you appreciate it more. Obviously, when our culture and our society are sick with the virus, the bishops have the authority to say no Mass. But let's escape this coronavirus talk for a second, and we're just living a regular life. When can you not go to Mass? I'll give you a couple things here from the Catechism. Serious reason would be illness. So if you personally are sick with the flu, you don't have to go to Mass. What if I'm a parent, maybe even a single parent, and my kid is sick? I can't drag my kid to Mass. Somebody's got to take care of my kid. I can stay home from Mass, and it's not a sin. Okay? Your own pastor can dispense you from having to go to Sunday Mass. Good luck with that. Those who deliberately fail in this obligation commit a grave sin. Next paragraph. If because of a lack of a sacred minister or other grave cause, participation in the celebration of the Eucharist is impossible, it is especially recommended that the faithful take part in the liturgy of the Word. So you don't have to go to Mass. If there is no Mass, why would there be no Mass? This doesn't really happen in Louisiana. We're very Catholic down here, but there are areas of the world that have very few priests. A lot of soldiers can't get to Mass. Why? Because there's no priest. You need a priest for Mass. If there's no priest, you're not expected to go to Mass. You're just encouraged to take part in the liturgy of the Word and do your own series of prayers at home. So that's that. Other reasons to miss Mass. Some people, this is rare, but some people do have to work. Maybe nurses do a late shift from Saturday into Sunday, and it's a 12-hour shift maybe, and they just miss all the Masses. That happens. Catch a Sunday night Mass if you can. There's a 9 p.m. at Our Lady of Wisdom, FYI. Um, so there's other reasons to miss Mass. Travel. I missed one Sunday Mass in my life before this epidemic or pandemic. I missed one Sunday Mass. It was when I was flying back from my honeymoon in South Africa, and I passed through on Sunday Turkey, a Muslim country, and then didn't land in New York City till either Sunday or Monday night. Just had no opportunity to get it because of the long travel for my honeymoon. It's not a sin for me to miss Mass when that happens. All right. If we were in class, we would read a fascinating article about how we fail to separate from work. Right now, a lot of people are separating from work. It's probably good for us in a lot of ways. However, on a closing point, this is the last point, 2 slides, 1 point. In America, especially, we don't take the vast majority of the vacation time that our jobs allow us for. There's studies and stats I would give you on this. Most people are given 2 to 4 weeks of vacation paid for, and we don't take a lot of it. We're addicted to work. We feel like we have to work all the time to get a promotion, to earn more money, to get people's respect. And now that we carry around computers with us, we can take work anywhere, and it's a problem. It's a problem for me that I'm hanging out with my kids and I check my work email. Like, I'm not able to be present to the kids. I'm not able to separate from work and to live in God's presence more fully. It's a problem. It really is. That being said, um, we need to be aware of this and we need to learn how to live on the Sabbath as if we were already in heaven. This was the whole goal ever since creation and being redeemed from Israel and Jesus Christ rising on Sunday. The whole goal is to live at least one day out of the week as if you're already in heaven, as if this world is complete peace. Okay? Live heaven on earth. What should I do on Sunday? Do everything you can to be happy. And we know that you can't be happy without Jesus, so go to church when you can, when it's offered publicly. Last quote from Pope Francis, very deep. He says, "We tend to demean contemplative rest. What does he mean by it? We don't value rest and relaxation as something. We don't. We tend to lower it. We say it's unproductive and unnecessary. But this is to do away with the very thing which is most important about our work, its meaning. Why does Mr. Peo go to work? Yeah, to provide for my family. But it's really to serve God. But if I'm just serving God all the time and I just say, oh, yeah, I'm just serving God and I do all the busy work, but I never actually step back and look straight to God like we're supposed to on Sunday, we lose all meaning. I'm going to lose my relationship with God. So if all you do is work, that's your life. And if your life is to be a machine, then that's inhumane. You know, we need to step back, separate from work. That's what the seventh day is for. And hopefully we're learning that right now. Because we're not in school, we're not working, we're not as busy. That's all I have to teach you on this video about the third commandment. You do have to complete an Ed puzzle. Ed puzzle, thank you, Kenny Chesney, for a really awesome song. You're going to have to watch it through. Make sure you read the note at the end of the Ed puzzle. Maybe even write it down. And we'll have another quiz real soon. From Burbridge, Louisiana, on behalf of Turner's Catholic High School, this is Mr. John Paoletti. God bless.